Welcome back to Gwenpool. Gwenpool is a character who was at one point just a variant cover and was never expected to be successful. But she was, and some of these comics are some of my favorite comics that came out last year. It's the story of a girl who discovered that she is in a comic book, and using that knowledge, she has the ability to step out of the comic. Now, we're gonna see what she can do with those abilities. In the subways of New York, a man whistles as he gets ready to board his train and stops when he sees the entire platform filled with snakes. Like any reasonable man, he immediately turns and runs, yelling, "Nope!" A short while later, as the police arrive, Officer Gray asks another officer why he didn't just call animal control. The officer says, well, if it was an alligator, sure, but it's a little different. At that moment, Gwen slams her hand on the hood of the squad car, telling them, obviously, this has something to do with supernatural forces. Lucky for you, I'm a superhero who's here to save the day, so everyone can relax as I take care of the problem and shoot a bunch of snakes. She pulls out her guns heading into the station, and Officer Gray asks, is anyone gonna stop her? And the other officer says, well, no. Inside the station, the Snake Master is sitting on his throne of snakes, and he says, well, this place is perfect for the Master and his posse of snakes. As he holds one of his snakes up, it suddenly explodes. And while Gwen starts shooting at all of the snakes, she asks, did he seriously decide to claim this place? The Master says that he didn't just pick here because he controls some snakes. It's because he controls all snakes. Just as more snakes begin to slither out of the ceiling, Gwen says that there she goes again, letting her overconfidence betray her. And then one of the larger snakes runs towards Gwen and she screams! The screams travel outside of the station and Gray and her men start to move in. And that's when Gwen walks up telling them, no problems, the snakes are taken care of. Gray looks around asking where all of the snakes went, and Gwen tells them, you know, I just went in and showed them who's boss. The Snake Master told me that I was right and that I was the boss, so he left. But don't worry, I'm a superhero now, so no payment is needed unless it's guns. I could really use more guns. Later that night, Gwen heads to her apartment when she sees the pizza guy getting ready to deliver an order, and she shouts that she can take that from him. The man rings the doorbell saying, sure, I'll just give it to some random girl running down the hall. And just as Gwen tries to explain that she lives there, the door opens and Cecil, who is currently a large purple mythical creature, tells the man, yeah, those are for me. Once the two head inside, Gwen tells Cecil, you know, you could go out if you want to, just put on a trench coat. No one will notice you in your new body. You have a gift now. You've inherited the body of a mythological creature, and you have actual superpowers now. You're just gonna waste them doing... And Cecil stops her, telling her, I'm doing what I liked to do before MODOK murdered me. Can't I just be happy to have a body and that I happen to be inside of a body? Gwen then says that she's just worried about him is all. Besides, she's got a new plan of what she's going to do next, and that's join the Avengers. Cecil stares for a moment and then he turns back to the computer, telling her, good luck. She pulls down her mask, telling him, all I need to do is show off some more good deeds and I'll be picked up in no time. Just keep looking for that thing that we talked about. Later at Bay Ridge, the criminal Paste Pot Pete spots an armored truck with two guards loading money into it. He yells, Bay Ridge is starting to look like a nice home for Paste Pot Pete. The guards look back and ask, Paste Pot Pete? What the hell is Paste Pot? Hang on while I take a picture. While the guards laugh, Pete tells them, yeah, you just laugh while I shoot a dollop of adhesive here and there and over there. The guards look at their feet and they see that they're now glued down, and Pete hops into the armored truck and he speeds off. But before he can get far, Vince the Doombot flies down, telling him, you are not wanted here. You must stop this right now. Pete swerves and ends up crashing into a nearby building, and then he jumps out shooting adhesive to Vince's feet, shouting, so the Doombot of Bay Ridge is real! While Vince tries to move his feet, Gwen pokes in, stating she was wondering if he could help her with something, and in return, she would totally deal with this whole situation. All she asks is that since he's an old Doombot, can he find a way to hook her up with meeting Dr. Doom himself? Vince asks her, what are you talking about? We have to deal with Paste Pot Pete. Completely ignoring Vince's statement, Gwen goes on stating, I'm ready to fight Dr. Doom, and once I do that, I can totally become an Avenger. Vince shouts that, you want to fight my maker? You're about to be killed by Paste Pot Pete. Gwen says, yeah, about that, I picked up some new moves since we last met. Check it out. Pete begins to spray adhesive at Gwen, and Gwen rolls out of the way. Vince then says, wow, you moved out of the way. Incredible. Incredible moves that you picked up. She then gets back at her feet and charges at Pete, telling herself she just needs to see the borders of space and time, the edges of the comic, and as Gwen grabs Pete, she pushes him out of the comic panel and into nothing. The nothingness of the fourth wall, the space between the comic and the real world. Pete looks at the blank area asking, what is this? And Gwen tells him it's nothing. It's time, it's space, it's a lot of things, but for you, it's the gutter. Sorry for doing this, but as Pete begs her, please don't leave me here, Gwen lets go, letting Pete fall into oblivion. Back in the comic, Vince asks, what did you just do? Pete just disappeared. And Gwen walks back over to Vince telling her, I have some real superpowers now, and I'm ready to turn those on Dr. Doom. I'm gonna erase him and be taken seriously, so where is he? Elsewhere, Dr. Doom himself is watching the feed through Vince, stating to himself, don't worry about my location. Doom sees you, little girl. A short while later in the subway, Gwen rides on Vince's back as he rockets through the caves asking, where are we going? And Vince tells her, my facility is up here. It's been in many hands over the years. It was once a bomb shelter, a monster shelter, an actual gateway to hell, but now it's mine. As the two touch down, Vince goes on stating, I can signal Victor Von Doom here, so if there's going to be a fight, at least it'll be taken away from everyone. Gwen says, it'll probably mess up the F-line back there, and Vince asks, what doesn't these days? Just behind them, another Gwen jumps into frame, and the real Gwen looks back asking, what was that? And Vince tells her, it's the rocks. We're in a cave, there are rocks. Once the two head in, Gwen looks around at all of the Dr. Doom decor and says that she senses that there's some real Daddy Frankenstein issues here regarding Dr. Doom. A little while later, another Gwen runs alongside the outside of the panels telling her, don't mind me, you're gonna understand what's happening in a bit. Suddenly there's a loud, Doom! And Vince takes his place along the other Doombots, and they all announce, Latverian Embassy Subterranean Facility Security Online. Gwen tells him, I'm pretty sure you got some old code mixing you up, so... And then the Doombots tell Gwen, you are a foolish child. Victor Von Doom answers before you can even speak. Gwen asks if this is a trap. Well, whatever. As long as the big man shows up, that's all she needs, so let's do this. But before she can finish that sentence, a trapdoor in the floor opens and she goes tumbling in. As she falls, a projection of Doom appears and he says, please forgive me about the bots. They were designed when I was in a more melodramatic mood. I was alerted when you told Vincent that you wanted to take Doom out. So his old programming brought you here. She asks, wait, if you're the real Dr. Doom, why do you look like War Machine in a hoodie? Doom sighs, telling her, we're gonna deal with you later. And Gwen falls into a cell. At this moment in time, if you're wondering, dear viewer, Dr. Doom has decided to become a good guy, and this is his Iron Man style armor that he wears in his book that is happening in conjunction with this Gwenpool book. Gwen starts banging on the door, shouting to Doom to open the door so that she can kill him! And after a few minutes, she realizes he's probably not gonna come. She then remembers that she can just step out of reality itself for a second. So she pulls herself above the panels to see where she needs to go, but all of the future panels just show the same cell. And then she looks back and sees the old pages and thinks, wait, maybe. She jumps back down into her cell and knocks on the door, asking if her future self is out there. And future Gwen tells her, yeah, just jump to an earlier page. And Gwen says, whoa, spooky talking to yourself and actually getting an answer. With that, she jumps up to pull herself out of the comic panel and she begins to run back to an earlier point in time. Back in the main room, Doom releases Vincent from his control, and as soon as Vincent is freed, he shouts, you disgusting bat! Doom snaps his fingers, forcing Vincent to stand straight up and back in line, stating, okay, maybe you should just stay here for now. Vincent yells, I have a life, you know! I'm not just some toy! And Doom asks, I do understand that you brought a girl here to wipe me from existence, right? Why is it you despise me so much? And Vincent tells him, it's because I believe that you haven't changed. Doom sighs, no one has. But I'm gonna continue, and maybe someday people will believe it. But I've seen what you've been doing as of late. I'm proud of you. Vincent asks, wait, you're proud of me? Doom goes on telling him, I've made many Doombots in the years, but I've never made one that looked human. Doom's mask begins to fade, and he holds up his hand, telling Vincent, wait a moment, I'm going to fix your gash. Before Doom can repair Vincent, though, Gwen runs in, grabbing the sword and the stone, shouting that she doesn't believe a word he's saying about changing. She's read way too many comics. That gives her an edge to know that he's still one of the main bad guys, and defeating him is gonna give her a chance at actually mattering. But this right here, she can't. All because she showed up in some obviously temporary continuity blip where you're a good guy? Doom tells her, I'm not sure what to tell you. And Gwen tells her, say something, like Richards or something, I don't care. And Doom says, Richards. And he begins to fire a blast at Gwen. But before it can hit, Gwen phases herself out of reality. She then reappears at Doom's side, slashing downward, ripping through Doom's torso, causing the pages of the comics to tear open, and then individual pages begin to fly out. Doom steps back, asking, why? And then something begins to crawl out of the wound, stating, insolent, worthless, insufferable. The real evil Dr. Doom pulls himself out, telling Gwen, if it is doom that you have craved, it is doom that you will receive. Doom stares at Gwen, and Gwen shouts back, stating, "Hi, I'm Gwenpool, and I'm gonna kill you." Doom laughs. "Of course you are. You have summoned me because you wouldn't want to sully a victory with a lesser manifestation." Gwen says, yeah, pretty much, but you're going down, so we should probably get to that part now." Doom begins to hold out his hands as he charges up a blast, and he throws it at Gwen, but she disappears, reappearing right behind him by going between the panels again. Doom starts laughing again, stating, "Doom will not fail. Doom simply is and ever shall be." Gwen then grabs Doom from behind, pushing him through the comic panels and then over the edge to fall into nothingness. Back in the real world, Vince starts looking around and he asks, "Did she?" And Gwen tells him, "Guess we can leave now." Vince shouts, "Wait, how did you do that? What?" Later, as the two head into the streets, Gwen tells Vince to hang on. She's got to call it into the Avengers hotline and report this. But while Gwen tries to get an operator, Vincent says that he still doesn't understand defeating Doom just seems so out there. She says, "Yeah, kind of anticlimactic, huh?" Wait. If it was anticlimactic. Aw, crap. From behind Gwen, a voice tells her, "That is a fascinating new dimension that you have discovered, but it is no prison for Doom." Doom rockets down and Gwen says, "Of course not. I'm not allowed to take him out completely within the first few pages." Doom begins firing blasts at the two of them, asking Gwen, "What other tricks do you have? Please don't disappoint me with a new apprentice's Riftwalk spell." She takes out her guns and begins firing, and as the bullets get close, Doom creates a force field to catch them. Vincent then runs up, punching Doom, telling him, "No one cares about you, you self-absorbed megalomaniac." Doom gets up asking, "A mere Doombot strikes its master? What brings you to such levels of stupidity?" Vince braces himself and then yells, "Because I hate you, Dad!" Doom pauses for a moment and he asks, "I am found unworthy of the love of my creation? I couldn't possibly care." Doom releases a blast into Vincent's chest, destroying his body, and as Doom asks where's the girl, Gwen sweeps his legs out from underneath him. She then hops onto Vince's rocket legs, telling him, "Okay, we need a do-over. Sorry that I unleashed a really bad guy into the world." But before she can get far, Doom flies up to her, telling her, "There are no do-overs." And Gwen tells him, "Well, I don't fully grasp my new powers yet, so I thought." And as Gwen gets ready to phase out, Doom grabs her, telling her, "Oh no, you don't." She kicks herself off of Doom into nothingness, and she asks if he's really threatening her. Fine, he can have her out of here. He's just an ink on a piece of paper. Doom laughs, telling her, "This is just another dimension. Doom is in control of this plane as in any other plane." And then another voice tells him that he is correct, and the hoodie-wearing War Machine Doom appears and rips him apart. As the other Doom's body fades into the papers and flies away, Doom says, "That was rather interesting, but he is right about one thing. You do not have any kind of magical powers." Gwen sits down, telling him, "Yeah, this just means that my new powers don't do anything. And that means I'm gonna die soon." As Doom's mask begins fading, he asks, "What do you mean?" And Gwen looks around, telling him, "All around us are comic book pages. When you look down one end, that's where the story's going. So for me, that's what, 2 issues worth? It's gonna end unless I become a supervillain. There was a point when I met my future self, and she was totally evil. So now, I wanted to find a future where I didn't become evil, even swearing that I wouldn't become evil. But as soon as I said that, hundreds of pages of my future, they just disappeared. So I figured if I could kill Dr. Doom, it would show that I'm important." However, Gwen then looks back at the pages that she's sitting on and she soon sees Paste Pot Pete, except now, he's back to being Trapster. She leans in asking, "What the hell is he doing with his old costume?" And Trapster says, "Because it was lame?" She then shouts, "I can't even off Paste Pot freaking Pete. How the hell did he even get out? Maybe it's just some higher forces agreeing that I'm meaningless." Doom steps back into the real world, grabbing pieces of Vince, putting them back together, telling her that just because you couldn't kill Dr. Doom or Paste Pot Pete doesn't mean you're useless. She asks, what is she supposed to do then? Everything that she does inches closer to those last pages. She's stuck in a comic book universe, and this comic book is being canceled. Now, unless she can either kill him or become a bad guy, there's nothing that she can do. Doom starts to fix Vince and tells her, "It just sounds to me that denying yourself is killing yourself. Make no mistake. I am who I am no matter what. I didn't get here by denying myself a single thing, including the desire to get better." Gwen then says, "Wait, are you saying that I should become a villain?" And as Doom rockets off, he says, "I did not say that, but good luck." She sighs and says that may not be what he said, but no matter what, she has to become a villain. And there you have it. Gwenpool is seeing the end of her own story. And while this is super meta, she legit is seeing the end of her story as her comic was canceled 2 issues after this, and the story does reflect that. So subscribe to this channel so you can see the Gwenpool finale, as one of my favorite characters that was recently introduced is pretty much gone now, and you can see all of us say goodbye. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian, where every Wednesday we do single tweet reviews, and you can join the fun by hitting me with the hashtag single tweet review, and I will retweet your review of something. See you next time right here, guys.